big books. Then he was in London and he had no money for publishing. Then there was one disciple of him, Cham Sundar. So he asked Cham Sundar, you know George Harrison, right? George Harrison was becoming friendly. Then Cham Sundar said, no, problem, after him for money. And Prabhupada thought about it and said, ask him anyway. Prabhupada. So then at that night, there was a meeting in the Apple Hall. Apple was the recording studio of the Beatles, the Apple studio, not the Apple computer. So in that hall, there was George Harrison and Cham Sundar was among us. Anyway, they were like that. Then Cham like that. Then Cham Sundar said, okay, George, yes, Prabhupada asked me to ask you. The light went off and one of those thunderbolt things came down like this. When it comes right on top of your heart. So the Krishna book is the sum and substance, it's the essence of. It's not such a way that he preserved knowledge with so much preaching, because one thing focus and another with so much preaching, because one thing focus and another thing is the tika, how he was explaining these things. So it was Prabhupada's monumental life work. Nevertheless, he also did the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is 17 volumes of the whole beautiful story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he did on the side. I mean, it's interesting, just see what a dimension. And Prabhupada did that while at the same time he was running a world mission which was growing up. He was doing translations overnight. But the Srimad Bhagavatam, which has that monumental historical position, had not been translated to a decent English way. Maybe there were some extracts like Mahabharata. Mahabharata was translated, but not the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that was Srila Prabhupada's life work. Now, talking about literature, what literature? And the Bible there was a lot of books, changed them 600 times to come up or to end up with the King James version of the Bible. And the original scripts, they were like library, called apocryphs, rejected scriptures. Funnily, those apocryphs, they present Jesus as a person teaching vegetarianism, reincarnation, and karma very clearly. So that is a clear proof that the editing of the Bible was done according to the Roman emperor's lifestyle, because he was the head of the Catholic Church. That's a long story, and I'm not interested to go into it. If you want to hear more about that, we can go have another dedicated talk on the history of Bible and Christianity. But it is interesting. In Budapest, that's the city where Maharaj is preaching, his headquarters, well, headquarters in Osora now, but we have monks who don't eat meat. So the Christians know that they're not supposed to eat meat. It's not that it's not known in history, but rarely followed. There's some, they're like the Adventists, they practice vegetarianism. Anyhow, side issue, Bhagavatam in. So the Bhagavatam, 1,000 years. What literature do we have 1,000 years? Yes, Rig Veda, these things, they are also from the same block of literature, Vedic literature. Exactly, we don't know. And one of the reasons we don't know very well is because the British has had 200 years of control over many of the libraries and other things, and they were systematically, fraudulently manipulating. But still they could not so much what was in the Sanskrit original. But there is a lot of fraud. Fortunately, we have Prabhupada and his guru. This England, this is Upaloka, this is the way to go. Things like that. Of course, there was some nationalism behind people. No. But anyhow, it was a process, and in that, but there's not many different Bhagavad Gitas which each one of them claims, no, this is the real one. No, that's a false one. No, we don't have that phenomenon. No, we don't have that phenomenon. Krishna's sake. Huh? We have a Bhagavad Gita except Achinta Veda Tattva Vadis. So in this sense, we don't have that problem. Srimad Bhagavatam, we also don't have that problem. So what books we have outside of India, which are of this antiquity? Think about it. There were some old books in South America from the Maya culture. And they were all burned by the Christians. They burned the books which they found in the library. They burned the Muslims, they burned the Nalanda library, which was the biggest library. So Alex was also burned. So not easy find, but what the story? What are the old books? We may find some rock carving here. Say, oh, this was carved 1,000 years ago. It looks like, no? And there another one, maybe 1,500. Matter of fact, we have no written historical evidence of human nature previous to the Srimad Bhagavatam. You never hear Bhagavad Gita, you never hear Mahabharata, you never hear Srimad Bhagavatam, you hear nothing. Only you have to study what some relative minds wrote down on paper. Called university today. Do you know where that started? Do you know? No. It was our Vedic university. The university which is now running the universal concept, it started in Bologna, in Italy. And it was totally under the control of the Catholic Church. That's why it changed other things. So the Bologna system was based on the concept of colonialism. And colonialism is based on a law which until today has not been refuted. What is that law applied by the system of law which is wrong and has not been refuted? Do you know? Hmm?
The code of law.
No.
White supremacy.
It's called the right of conquest. If I take over and dominate you, then it is my right to say this country is my, British Queen, she would call herself the Queen of India. Some stupid lady there in England, she claims to be the queen. That's on the law of conquest. The entire system of the conquerors, of the colonialists, they were, we kill, we enslave, we become the rightful owners. The law of might is right. If you were more powerful, then you have the reason.
But was it not like that in the Vedic time also, that these Maharajas had a fight between?
Good question. We had in the Vedic time, we had the emperor, and the emperor. I was just reading about that recently. So he was sent out the challenging horse, and the challenging horse was either you submit to the emperor or you challenge him. And in that commentary which I wrote, working on the other system. So we that which is a little bit beyond our detailed information. But I wondered the same way what you just say. So I tried to go a little bit into investigating what was that war, Indian king and little kingdoms, and how they were fighting with each other.
Just to catch the land.
To catch the land, or?
Supposedly, according to the duty of the Kshatriya, if he sees that in some neighbor country the people is not well taken care or they are not worshiping the supreme personality of Godhead, he has the duty and the right to conquer them. But it should not be because of land or some ambitious materialistic. Otherwise, he is the one who is committing sin.
I mean, we are following Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira Maharaj was a very, very noble person, but the Rajasuja sacrifice was done to have his rule shared with everybody. Anyhow, back to the colonialists and back to the Catholic Church. When they realized that politically they cannot hold the power on every country, then they put all the power into the educational system. That we may not have the power in the government, but we have the power in who is educated, who can graduate, who will have certificates, who will be the ministers, who will be the military leaders, who will be the priests. So that system was established, and so much that Indian universities, in order to be accepted by Western universities, they had to teach the Aryan invasion because that's part of the dogma, the big dogma of this world. So that is how the colonialism through the university system, keeping enslaved and keeping ignorant the student community around the world. Now, therefore, we had in India now it is a term which has been used. We in South America we made a decolonial decolonializing your mindset. And that also has been accepted here in India, the decolonialization, because you have so many prejudices set in your brain, which comes from the colonialized system. You have to first to get that out if you want to see another dimension. So, yeah, that word has been used in the VJP vocabulary of decolonialization of the mind. Anyhow, that is decolonializing our educational system from whatever nonsense they are giving there. And that Darwinism was one of the, even though there were Catholics in the power, they said, oh, that's very useful, because in the essence, they're not Catholic, they're power mongers who are behind this. So they accepted Darwinism, and the communists, they were so happy with Darwin. Darwin was like their greatest boon. Huh? We all come from the monkeys, and now we take over power. So now this was just a little bit introduction that this Srimad Bhagavatam is an absolute extraordinary contribution to humanity, and it should be taken in that way. And then we will get the full benefit of it. Now let us read our shloka of today, which you gave to us. We are reading from Prithu Maharaj, Meeting the Kumaras. Tattvam Narendra Jagatam Mata Tashtushamcha Dahendriyashu Dishanatma Bir Avritanam Ya Shit. It's very hard to read so small. Huh? Let's see, we still have some battery here. Okay. Yakshetravit tapataya ride vishvak avi pratyak chakashti bhagavangstam avehi sosmi. Okay, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 22nd, text number 37. Hare Krishna Mata. See ya? Okay. Sanat Kumar advised the king, therefore, my dear King Prithu, try to understand the Supreme Personality of God, who's living within everyone's heart, along with the individual soul, in each and every body, either moving or not moving. The individual souls are fully covered by the gross material body and subtle body made of the life, air, and intelligence. Wow. 5,000 years ago, they were teaching that. 5,000 years ago, that profound information was given. Prabhupada explains, in this verse, it is specifically advised that instead of wasting time in the human form of life, endeavoring for economic development and sense gratification, one should try to cultivate spiritual values by understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is existing within the individual soul, within everyone's heart. The individual soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature are both situated within this body, which is covered by gross and subtle elements. To understand this is to attain actual spiritual culture. There are two ways of advancing in spiritual culture: by the method of the impersonalist philosophers and by devotional service. The impersonalist comes to the conclusion that he and the Supreme Spirit are one, whereas devotees or personalists realize the absolute truth by understanding that because the absolute truth is the supreme predominator and we living entities are predominated, my duty is to serve him. The Vedic injunction says, Tat Tvam Asi, you are the same, and Soham, I am the same. The impersonalists' conception of these mantras is that the Supreme Lord, or the Absolute Truth, and the living entity are one. But from the devotee's point of view, these mantras assert that both the Supreme Lord and ourselves are of the same quality. Tattvam Asi, Ayam Atma Brahma. Both the Supreme Lord and the living entities are spirit. Understanding this is self-realization. The human form of life is meant for understanding the Supreme Lord and oneself by spiritual cultivation of knowledge. One should not waste valuable time simply engaging in economic development and sense gratification. In this verse, the word kshetravit is also important. This word is explained in Bhagavad Gita 13, text 2. Idam saridam kaunteya kshetram iti abhidiyate. Body is called kshetra, the field of activities, and the proprietor of the body, the individual soul and the super soul, sitting within the body, are both called kshetravit. But there is a difference between the two kinds of kshetravit. One kshetravit, or knower of the body, namely the Paramatma, or the super soul, is directing the individual soul When we rightly take the direction of the super soul, our life becomes successful. He is directing from within and from without, like through the books, from without. From within, he is directing as Chaitya Guru, or the spiritual master sitting within the heart. Indirectly, he is also helping the living entity by manifesting himself as a spiritual master outside. In both ways, the Lord is giving direction to the living entity so that he may finish up the material activities and come back home, back to Godhead. The presence of the Supreme Soul and the individual soul within the body can be perceived by anyone by the fact that as long as the individual soul and the super soul are both living within the body is always shining and fresh. But as soon as the super soul and the individual soul gives up possession of the gross body, it immediately decomposes. One who is spiritually advanced can thus understand the real difference between a dead body and a living body. In conclusion, one should not waste his time by so-called economical development and sense gratification, but should cultivate spiritual knowledge to understand the super soul. He should, but should cultivate knowledge by understanding the super soul and the individual soul and their relationship. In this way, by advancement of knowledge, one can achieve liberation and the ultimate goal of life. It is said that if one takes to the path of liberation, even rejecting his so-called duties in the material world, he is not a loser at all, but a person who does not take to the path of liberation, yet carefully executes economic development and sense gratification, loses everything. That's a nice statement. We made a poster out of it. It says, if I lose the soul, but I gain every material power and opulence, I lost everything. But if I lose all material things and get my spiritual enlightenment, I have everything. I obtained everything. Same thing is said here. Narada Muni's statement before Vyasadeva is appropriate in this connection. Tyaktva sadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakvo ta patittato yadi yatra kva svabhadram avat amushyakim ko varta apto bhajatam swadharmata is Bhagavatam 1.5.17. If a person, out of sentiment for some other reason, takes to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and in due course of time does not succeed in coming to the ultimate goal of life and falls down to the lack of experience, there's no loss. But for a person who does not take to devotional service, yet executes his material duties very nicely, there is no gain. Wow. Difficult to say it more extreme than that, no? Done all the duties, done everything nice, but not cultivating spiritual life, everything is lost. Whereas you try to be a good devotee, you may slip, you may fail, but just like going on that path, you already gained the maximum benefit. Just he was showing that back to home, back to Godhead. So now this verse, this purport of Prabhupada is actually very scientific. It's very scientific. Personally, for me, the emphasis here is on relationship. Sambandha. Because relationship, in this material world, it's all in all. Because of the relationship of my father and mother, now I'm born. Because of my relationship with my friends, I am gaining knowledge. Because of my relationship with my client, my business is flourishing. Because of my relationship with scholars, my knowledge is increasing. Everything is about relationship. Because of my relationship with my guru, I am gaining information and enlightenment if I practice what he teaches me. Because of my relationship with the farmers, I have something to eat. Because of my relationship with the artist of this world, I can perceive such a beautiful, highly sophisticated creations, developments. Because of the poets, I can read poetry. Everything is based on relationship. If we would be just one and only, each one for himself in this world, it's a very theoretical, very imaginary conception. So how can we conceive that the spiritual world will be just one and none? No variety, no exchange, no service, no sambandha. That is more than abstract. Plus, one philosopher once said that the infinite expanding into an infinite amount of individuals, simply to come to the conclusion that that was all illusion and that we should become one again into the infinite. That is so contradictory that it's amazing. Just like we have a saying, nothing comes from nothing. So here we go. I mean, you picked the right verse. I mean, this is like, and this is the instruction given himself by the Supreme Personality of God, that by the pure devotee Sanat Kumar to the King Parikshit, to the King Prithu, who is a Shakti Avesha avatar. It's all about the Paramatma. Another thing, we are connected to each other, yes. We can even be born again and meet again in a future life. Like in India, they say sometimes you have to get married to the enemy of your last life. You had so much dues, so much debts with this guy or that person. And this time you gotta marry him. And so you see him or her and you go like, oh, I got something to do with this person. Yes, and you get married and you live all life paying your karma. I learned that in India. So the scientific, what to speak, the karmic law is, if you kill a cow, you'll pay according to the amount of hairs that cow has on her body. What that really means, we cannot understand, but just the way these examples are given, they're like, listen, come to your senses. There is a law above you, ruling the entire creation. But besides that, besides this interaction, apparently we are all alone. Are we alone? Each one for himself? Just floating around the cosmos of individuals shocking each other and coming together out, never see each other again. And we are just part of this floating, fleeting situation of casualities. Like this is things the Vaishnava says, there's no casuality, there's only causality. So here is a very important point given very clearly. Your relationship, your sambandha is eternal with the super soul. And through the super soul, you relate with others. Even your guru comes to you only by the grace of the super soul. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prashade by Bhakti Lata Beach. The guru comes to you because Krishna sends him. And he gives you the ability to recognize him. Otherwise, you go in a market, there's many people. Here in Vrindavan, you can find lots of turbans running around, That doesn't mean that any one of them will know you or know him or teach you or no. beyond our control. So Krishna is really the key relationship. And that's why we are following the principle of Jivera Svarupaya Haya Nityera Krishna Das. So what is my relationship with the Lord? I'm his servant. Is that very delightful? Do you think that God delights to have billions and billions and billions of servants that say, my Lord, what to do, what to do? Okay, what to do? That'll be very boring for God. Have so many people just want to serve him. So therefore, the Lord shows up in Vrindavan. It says, game changer. Here you can become my little cow, my little peacock, my little Gopa friend, my little father, mother, Nanda Yashoda, my little girlfriend. You can come and dance with me. And so much that in Vrindavan, the devotees forget. They forget that Krishna is God. They're not so concerned. Sometimes the Gopas, after Krishna kills one of those demons, the elder Gopas are sitting together. Listen, this is not normal. That this little boy killed this huge demon. I mean, that's not normal. Then Nanda Baba says, but he's my baby now. Leave him alone, okay? Huh? Yeah, but maybe he's an incarnation of a demigod or something. No. Come, Krishna, let's go home. So there's controversy in Vrindavan. Who is this Krishna? Did he lift this mountain? No, he didn't lift it alone. We also helped with our sticks. We held it up together. So Yoga Maya enhances the divine spirit of the Leela. Yoga Maya, she's really, really helpful to this naughty plans of Sri Krishna because he's very naughty and he likes to make fun also. We also like to make fun, don't we? But he is more funny than any one of us. And he can really do a number on us. So here, sum and substance is Sambandha. Who else is there? Let's take your time ticker and advance it 300 years from now. Your time ticker for each one. Where is he going to be in 300 years? Where are you going to be in 300 years? Where are you going to be in 300 years? Are we going to see each other? Are we going to talk to each other? Are we going to feel for each other anything? Most likely not, because it's impossible. Practically, materially impossible. But within Krishna, everything is becoming possible. And with Krishna, that relationship doesn't matter in 300 years, 3,000 years, 30,000 years, 30 billions of years. He's still God, and you're still conscious unit. So therefore, the dimension of Krishna, the Goloka Vrindavan, is the land of eternal love. And we are assured that in that world, every step is a dance and every word is a song. This is that place of Sambandhananda. It is the eternal fulfillment in relationship. And that relationship through him expands to anybody. Like through my guru, I'm relating to all of you. If I go in a market in Loy Bazaar, there's tons of people. I also have a relationship to them because they're in Vrindavan. So because they're here in Vrindavan, I'm very good. All the Brij Basis here, no? I can even identify to all the people in India because, they're all living in Bharatamata, no? But it becomes very abstract, very abstract. There's no awareness about each other's relationship. And a relationship is as important as there is awareness. That is my point about the Guru Tattva also. There has to be an awareness principle of the Guru having you as a disciple and you awareness of that. He's my Guru. And now where's my Guru? How is my Guru? What my Guru wants? And if that's lost, then there's very little left over. Of course, it's a divine principle. Guru Shastra Satu Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya. We are relying in our understanding the truth on the spiritual master's teaching. The Holy Scriptures he has provided to us. What do I know about Holy Scriptures? My Guru provided me with these books. Without him providing me I was reading Vivekananda before I came to Krishna consciousness. Jnana Yoga. Yes. First thing, if you want to meditate, you have to shut up your mind. Stop thinking. I put the book down, sit in a yoga position, start. Okay, now how will I stop thinking? Well, I should at least be thinking that how I should stop thinking. But if I think about how to stop thinking, it is still thinking. And I went like this, maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes, and I took the book and threw it away. What are you telling me I stopped thinking? Huh? I cannot work for me. Maybe I'm too stupid for it, you know? So, Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and be cool. Just chant the names and everything will come. It's true. I chanted Hare Krishna and everything came. My personal story was like that. I heard the mantra and everything came. I chanted the mantra and everything came. With evidence and testimony. So I cannot deny that my Guru did. And I see people, they chant Hare Krishna and they become vegetarian. Almost immediately. As soon as they understand a little bit. Oh, yeah. So this relationship is so essential. And there's only one relationship with Paramatma. And he is the original Guru. He's the Chaitya Guru. And he'll go with you to the next birth and to the next birth. He'll accompany you. He's your personal guide in all this journey. And then they say, Soham, Tattvamasi. There's 2 ways to think about that. That is, one is I'm him or I am his. That is the clue. I am his. I am him. What a ridiculous thing. I'm my own super soul. I am myself illuminating myself. I am myself giving my karmic reactions to me. I am myself in charge of the universe. It is ludicrous. It doesn't make even sense. Besides that, it's not real. It's not true. I don't know what's going to happen today, even in the next 5 minutes. Everything could be shaken, an earthquake, and we all be dead. With these stones on top. So we need the super soul. Savasya chaham ride sanivishtu matasmite jnanam aponam cha vitaischa sarvair ahangiva vedyo vedanta krit vedavit eva cha. Sorry, Maharaj, I wanted you to also speak, but some other I got carried away.
For good luck.
Any questions? Thank you for this beautiful shloka. Just perfect. Sanat Kumar advised us. Wow.
In the morning, so we were talking, I was talking to Mataji Asad and the Tattvamasi, the same thing we were like discussing. Even it's connected with yesterday's topic by my question.
You see, the Bhagavatam is on top of us, isn't it?
Yeah, he's guiding.
Yeah.
He's connected.
Yes, yes, as if I had planned it. No.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yes, I also rely on that. Mahatma Gandhi said, whenever sorrow invades me, I open the Bhagavad Gita anywhere, and there's a shloka which uplifts me again. Yes, back to home, back to Godhead. So now we have a
question.
Yes.
So, what is the reason that most of the political leaders in India, they are that kind of Tattvamasis? So it's kind of amongst the politicians and the leaders, it's more popular than Dasosthi.
Yes.
And Prithu Maharaj is about being a leader as servant. I mean, it's interesting feature that
We call it megalomaniacs. That those who come to this stupid conclusion that they are the most important, they are the most powerful, and therefore they don't want to have any philosophy which puts somebody above them. What to speak of eternally? Eternal dependence. It's the very nature of the conditioned soul. Little here.
but those leaders are still consider themselves servants, no? Servants of Dharma.
But that is just a joke. They just say that.
Branding.
They're saying that we are doing this. Mhm. Just like Prabhupada used to make the joke about the businessman. He will say, no profit for me, no profit. Huh? I'm selling you by cost. It's strange, yes, but it marks the world. I don't want to be around here, really, but I have to fulfill. I mean, there's so much more to say in this shloka about the Shukshma Sharira and the Stula Sharira and how we are the both the Lord and we are observing of the Chetravit. We are aware of this, what's going on, and we are trying to interact and so. But here the shloka went straight onto the relationship with the Chaitya Guru, with Paramatma. And that's the final thing, though, that why in a bhakti school we basically learn how to surrender and how to pray for the connection with the super soul and to act according to his sweet will and to become instruments of him. Just like when I give a class, I never feel that I'm giving a class. I'm just talking what comes to me in my heart that moment. I just deliver it, whatever comes. And whoever is sitting there, maybe they receive it, maybe they don't, maybe that's between them and their Paramatma relationship. I don't know that, but it is, well, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and the proof of the devotion is in the fact that there are many devotees of different kinds. There's many degrees of devotees, mixtures of three modes of material nature. But I would say that the majority of the people, they believe that there's somebody who's listened to your prayer. Because a Mayavadi, Tattvam, Tat Soham, and to whom are you praying? To yourself? praying to yourself. Oh, please enlighten me, please enlighten me. Only you can enlighten me, but I'm not enlightened. How I will enlighten you? Huh? What is this? And nobody's listening to our prayers. Then what's the use of prayers? What's the use of shlokas? What's the use of bhajans? Everything is useless. Just a beautiful entertainment to pray to yourself and to think that I'm the deity also. But that's what Advaita Vada teaches us. But careful, Shankaracharya, that's a very important thing, he told to Parvati that I was told by the Lord to spread the impersonal philosophy in the Kali Yuga to keep those who are rascally minded away from approaching the devotional realm and contaminating everything.
Very specific.
Yes, interesting, no? So Shankaracharya, he writes a Gita commentary. He says, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Mudamate. But then he is the leader of the Advaita Vad. And those who call upon him or refer to him, they ignore all these other things he said. These information of the scriptures, they ignore. They're just, no, I only read what I like to read. That part, I don't read that. And it brings something to my mind, which is like a chicken and the egg. They like the egg, but they don't like the mouth of the chicken because it's always eating. So they want to cut off the head and just keep the egg. This kind of example some have given. And the examples, the impersonalist examples, are actually very shallow. I've had quite some contact. One time I went to the Acharya board with Vangsi in Hyderabad. There was a meeting of all the Acharyas of India. And I had a friend, and he recommended, I was allowed to sit there as a visitor, but not allowed to talk. I'm a foreigner, no? But I made it into the meeting, it was something. So the leader of that, his name was, he died afterwards. He is, what was his name? Devananda. He had a big ashram in Rishikesh, in Haridwar, and also, right now I forgot his name. Anyhow, he was challenged. And I went to him. I said, why the Gaudiya Math is not invited to the Acharya meeting? So he asked me, come and talk to me in Rishikesh. So I went to Rishikesh, and then he said, here in the Acharya meeting, we only invite people whose tradition is proven more than 500 years. And the Gaudiya Math doesn't count in that. So I forgot what I argued, but I said something to him that, look, there's more people following the Vedic culture around the world by the Gaudiya Math influence than anything else. How can you exclude them? I think I said that. And he said, He said, okay, then we could invite one leader of the Gaudiya Math. I said, but there's so many acharyas. They are actually No, only from the Chaitanya Math, because he knew about the splitting up of the Gaudiya Math. He knew, no? Devananda. And he was I'm, founder of I'm, something like that. Anyhow, so then I was there and I was talking also about the bridge. The reason I went to this, I wanted to get the support of the acharyas for Vrindavan. That was really the reason I went there. So then I was there and then he said, okay, you can come to class now. He was giving class. So here you were, the big Mayavadi guru there, and I was sitting there. And he looked at me and he wanted to hammer the Mayavadi philosophy into my head. No? So he said, you look at the pot, but when the pot is broken, then the space from inside the pot and the space from outside the pot, they become one. So that is when you get self-realized. You become one with the space. I didn't want to argue in front of all his disciples there. So I bit on my tongue. Okay. And because I wanted something from him also. Because he was the acharya, he was elected the president of all the acharyas of India. There was in that meeting there in South India, even Pejra Swami was there. The Madhvacharyas people, they were there. So it wasn't interesting, but it practically discontinued. Anyhow, that was one experience there. So this space, and even that's not right, because the molecular condition of water or air, it may be joined with the rest, but it's still a molecule. So it can be identified with some certain scientific process. So it's not even that. Even their main examples don't have substance. This famous pot, the jar, or the water.
So you say that even the air and space become one, but still the molecules remain particles.
Yes. And they can be again confined in spaces. But the nature or the higher, one of the things, I'm a lover of water. Water is liquid prema. It is so miraculous. And only God can create water. The scientists have no idea where in the heck all this water is coming from. Have no idea. And if you see how the water acts, how the water has memory, it's a magic form of just the Lord's energy.
Gurudev, all the now, the more they are trying, they are not yet there. But like you talk about things, with the quantum, like particles can be waves can be, only God knows. So when we observe, even electron changes their nature. They know wave and particle.
Yeah, that's quantum physics. Actually, the top quantum physicists from Germany, famous guy, I forgot his name again, he was a follower of Shankaracharya. What? He became a convinced Veda follower, but in an impersonal way. So the impersonal way is more attractive because there's no surrender, there's no superior, there's no Nishingadev coming out of a column and smashing you all. They don't like that, Nishingadev. They say, you stay in the column. So beautiful. Coming back to my first description on the Bhagavatam, that's the only book we have substantially, authoritatively upon what is there beyond our eyes. Here's the book. Nothing. Nothing even coming close. Krishna says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Bhagavan speaks. What other scripture do you have in the world where they say Sri Bhagavan speaks? Nothing. Confucius speaks. something in the Chinese, no? But nothing which could be put on the side, say, oh, they say Krishna is God. Wrong. Here, this one is God. No, nobody says. There's no opposition not want to speak. I think Shabda wants to open the Thakurji's door now, and we get the blessing now of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gauranga Radha Braja Mohan, Gauranga Radha Madan Gopal, Srila Prabhupada, and the whole parampara for the preaching or for the life of our Harijan Maharaj from Hungary, who is disciple of Bhakti Abhay Narayan Maharaj and follower of the Gaudiya Parampara for so many years. And that means Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Rakshira Maharaj's beloved grandchild. And that is our divine connection. So now you can open we will receive. Prabhu, Mansarova, toma foto ahora. Toma foto. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. And we